Hey, I'm Lex.
And I'm Gibby, and welcome to another episode of Porch Swing People.
Each episode, we bring on a guest onto our digital front porch to talk about whatever they want to talk about. Our goal is social connection and community and listening and learning from others. Can you tell us about the guest today?
Yes, I can tell you about our guest today. Our guest today is Syd. She is a family member, and I'm not going to spoil the rest of it. Let's just bring her on. Good afternoon, Syd.
Hello.
How's it going?
I'm well. How are you guys?
How are we?
I'm doing
About the
well.
same. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Same,
all
same
around.
It's a nice
Well,
day.
well.
Yeah.
Thanks for being on the podcast this afternoon.
Is this your first podcast, Syd?
This is my first podcast.
Yay.
Wow.
Big step in my life. I'm checking it off the list.
Yes.
Are you looking forward
very
to it?
legitimate.
Yeah, I'm excited. You've had my mom before, and
Yeah.
I thought she did fabulous. And so
She did.
I feel like I've got a big plate to step up to following.
No,
So
you do not.
we'll see how it goes.
It is not a comparison. It is your story, not your mom's story. Hey, Syd, will you tell us about yourself?
Yeah, I am a Midwesterner. I'm a veterinarian as well. I graduated in 24, so I'm in my second year of practice right now. I'm married to a wonderful person, my husband, Justin. He's my high school sweetheart. And then we share a small little fluffy dog named Momo. So,
love it.
yes.
So beautiful.
And I love
beautiful
Justin
family.
too.
Why don't you tell us something that your past self would feel proud about your current self?
I'm going to jump right in with a vet story.
Yay!
I'd say probably a month and a half ago or so. It was actually my surgery day. So Wednesdays are my surgery day.
Mhm.
And both of my surgeries had canceled. So I had the whole morning open. And I was kind of joking around, bring me a splenectomy today, or bring me a pyometra, which is an infection of the uterus that you have to quickly surgically remove.
That's vet jokes, evidently.
Yeah, and I was making my team mad because you can't be taunting the world
Fate.
like that.
The powers,
Something will show up. Yeah, so that's what I'm joking about all morning when I have time to do the surgery. But it comes to the afternoon, and the receptionist comes back and says, hey, we've got a cat on the way. She was spayed this morning, and she's bleeding out of her incision. And given some things that I knew about where this cat was coming from, I was pretty confident that it was going to be a surgical emergency. Mm-hmm. So, everybody just immediately gets to work preparing for this. We've got the ultrasound out. We've got the oxygen machine, catheter stuff. Everything's prepared for us to really emergently prepare her for surgery. And the cat comes in. She is like on her side, lateral, not responsive. Blood pressure is too poor to pick up. Her temperature is 93 degrees. For reference, a cat should be no less than 99.5 degrees in a clinic. The owner had wrapped a sock in a band around her abdomen, and they were soaked through with blood.
Oh, my goodness.
I, at that point, said, okay, you guys handle this, talking to the other doctors. I'm going to go scrub in, and I'll be waiting for you to get her prepped. And I'm just going to jump right in as soon as we can. Because for her to be presenting as she was, it was definitely something that we needed to act really fast on. And so I went back there. The other two doctors, the whole team, they did a fabulous job. They got her intubated. They got her catheter replaced. They got everything scrubbed. She was ready to go. And then they brought her back, and I just went right in. Another vet ended up joining me, and we did the explore together. And we found that all three sites were oozing quite a bit of blood, and we were able to retie them and close her up. And I just saw her last week for vaccines.
Yeah.
So
wow.
It was just, it was one of those things that, looking at her, I was really feeling quite wary about the prognosis, and
Mm-hmm.
for a lot of reasons. I mean, even if we got through the surgery and stopped the bleeding, post-op complications like
Yeah.
having low blood pressure for so long that can damage organs. This cat is a breed that is predisposed to heart disease, and so like that, I had a lot of concerns about how we would
Yeah.
be looking afterwards. But animals are really resilient, and she's doing fabulous. And so all that to say, two versions of myself I think would be really proud of me. Any version of me that wasn't a vet yet would think that was sick, just because
Totally.
you can come in and you can save a life. But a different version of me, one about a year ago, coming out of school, I had a lot of surgical anxiety, like extreme, to the point that it sent me to therapy. And I was really considering what it would look like for me going forward.
Mm-hmm.
And so getting to the point where I said, let's just do this. I feel I feel prepared to jump into the surgery right
Yeah.
now, without having mentally, planned it out ahead of time. It was a pretty exciting milestone for me.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Congratulations. That's incredible.
I have a question, actually a
Mm.
couple. So I'm gonna, if you'll indulge me. One is, do you keep like extra cat blood? She obviously, or he, the kitten had obviously lost a lot of blood. So do you replenish that? What's the deal there?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So we are a general practice who functions as somewhat of, I'd say, an urgent care facility in our region. We're fairly rural. A lot of local, like rural people will come to us. And then there are two emergency facilities about 35 minutes away. We had
Mm-hmm.
actually recommended a referral to those clinics that do carry blood products. Although I will say a lot of places don't carry blood for cats. Sometimes they'll have donors present, but it's sometimes we're kind of doing a little bit of cowboy medicine where it's like, hey, this isn't your pristine, perfect referral facility where we have, overnight monitoring. We're not staffed 24/7. We don't have
Mm-hmm.
uh, the capacity to do a blood transfusion, things like that. But we're kind of a middle ground where you can still have access to care, even if we can't afford, the $10,000 surgery and post-op
Mm-hmm.
care at the tertiary
Wow.
facility.
Yeah.
I've seen and done a lot of things that a lot of my GP friends have not done just because of the nature of my clinic.
Yeah. That makes
Very cool.
sense.
Okay. My other question is, so how many lives does this cat? I mean, you get 9 of them. How many? No, I'm kidding.
Was
I'm
was that
joking.
one use? Was that two? How many was that?
No. My other question, and I probably should have asked this up front. How did you determine that you wanted to be a veterinarian?
We should
Yeah,
have asked this earlier.
I'm sorry.
it's kind of a weird thing for me to reflect on because it's one of those things that, as a kid, you've always said, I want to be a vet. I want to be a vet. I love animals,
Of
stuff like
course.
that. But, and I can reflect back, on a couple of times when I was a kid where, like, I recall a neighborhood cat had snatched a bunny, and I like go and fight the cat off the bunny, and I don't know, probably doomed the bunny, honestly, if it had already been bit. But so that you always had this desire to become a vet, but really, I wasn't sure that I would be able to tolerate certain, aspects of the job.
Mm-hmm.
Euthanasia is a big one that really gets a lot of people, and then just like gross stuff too.
Oh
Eyes,
yeah.
eyeballs,
Yeah.
wounds,
Eyeballs.
stuff
Oh
like
my
that.
gosh, me
Eyeballs.
too.
Yeah, I don't know. I've seen. Sometimes I like to just jump scare Justin. Like, look at this eyeball that I saw today. They're
Oh my
horrible.
gosh.
But
That's
yeah, stuff like
terrible.
that. But so senior year of high school, and again, this is kind of late, to make the decision. A lot of my peers, they had decided and they had formulated a path for themselves to become a vet a little bit earlier than me. But when I was a senior, I was like, let's just go shadow a vet and we'll see how we handle it. And if we like it, we'll go for it. And if we don't, then, we'll do something else. And
Mm-hmm.
I shadowed my family vet for the day, and I think I saw a dental cleaning and probably with some extractions and a cat bite abscess, which at the time I thought was gross, but now I find really satisfying. And I was like, okay, let's do it. We'll go for it. And it all kind of went from there.
Okay, I'm a little bit hung up on you saying that a lot of your vet peers decided they wanted to go that path before senior year of high school. That's
Yeah,
so young
it's
to decide
intense.
that. Yeah.
It's intense to become a yeah. I got off the phone with either I think she's a sophomore or a junior in high school a couple weeks ago, and she was just asking me about the career, and I was talking to her about it, and she was already planning, so she was wanting to tour schools, and I was like, I didn't know about any of this until much
Wow.
later. So everybody has their own
Oh
path
my
and
goodness.
journey to get there,
Yeah.
but
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
I want to
some
circle
people
back
start
to
really
the
early though.
beginning of this question. So, specifically, the question is something to feel proud of about yourself. At the beginning, when you were kind of like putting that out into the universe, like, here's what I'm looking for today. I
Oh.
got a surgery coming in. I feel like I believe in like the transfer of energy, and I feel like that cat could hear you from wherever she was. Like, I have a problem, and I'm going to be safe here, and I trust this person no matter what your beliefs are. Like, that's a testament to the person you are and the vet that you are. If I were you, I'd be extremely proud. That's a great story.
Yeah.
Well, thank
Yeah.
you, thank you. It all worked out. It's pretty exciting. So I'm not going to forget her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Another weird thing is, as you said, the eyeball and um, getting a little bit long in the tooth. But I've only seen one dog with missing an eye, but I've seen multiple cats missing an eye. I mean, are they named Cyclops? I don't know, but why is it the cats are the ones that come up missing an eye?
I haven't personally looked into this too much, but I do have a couple of theories. And one, I do think that you're probably missing some of the dogs because glaucoma,
Oh,
can be an issue that can
mhm.
cause us to do an enucleation. But cats, the reasons that I've seen cats get an enucleation were here's a fun fact. Pretty much like 90% of your cats are going to get exposed to herpes virus. And it's not the same. There's a different herpes virus for every species. And a lot of them actually for multiple species. But it causes a lot of gunkiness and crustiness in the
Mm.
eyes. And if not taken care of properly, that can really dry out the eye, cause ulcers, and then a non-healing, wound with the eye. So I've
Gosh.
seen three cats who came from feral situations or outdoor
Hmm.
Mm.
situations who had really severe respiratory disease that affected their eyes, and then for finance sake and just for comfort's sake they ended up just removing
Mm.
the eyes.
That's interesting.
I got
Wow.
two things for you. One is your fun facts and my fun facts completely different.
That's
Um,
true.
yeah, but your next one is tell us what was a gift you received that meant a lot to you.
So I have two gifts that came to mind for me when I was reading this question, and they're both really important. The first one kind of ties into the last question in a way.
Hmm.
I have always loved animals, clearly. And as a child, I was deprived of a dog for a really long time. I,
Mm. Me
I,
too.
yeah, I look at all these kids who grow up with dogs, and they don't know what they were missing
Oh
because
my
I
gosh.
had a plastic toy that moved, like a robot dog, and that was my dog. Or the Game Boy, or it was a DS dog, the Nintendogs. Those were my dogs. But
Nintendo.
anyways, yes, Nintendogs. I had a lab named Buddy. Anyways, when I was in probably seventh grade, eighth grade, we were at um, a relative's house for Christmas, and the grandkids, me and Clay, my brother, start opening gifts, and it's a dog leash, and it's a doggy bed, and it's a dog like food container, and in my adult eyes now, I'm looking back and I see my parents' faces fall. They realize, I think, before the kids realize what's going on here. But these relatives surprised us all with a puppy,
I didn't
and
know that. Did you
yeah,
know
yeah,
that, Gibby?
I heard the story, but I
Oh
didn't
my
hear this
gosh.
part of it because your
yeah.
I guess
mother was not
I didn't know
excited
that your
about it.
parents didn't know.
They did not know. Yeah,
Spicy gift
and
giving.
Yeah.
I know, and it's so like, and again, as a vet now, like probably not a good idea, right? If to not tell people that you're going to get them a
Some people are
puppy
not.
of
Yeah.
all things, right? We don't want the puppy to go to the shelter or go back. But
Right.
anyways, it worked out fabulous for multiple reasons. One, me and my brother got to grow up with a dog, from that point on, and he was a
Mm-hmm.
lovely family dog. And two, I don't know if you remember, Gibby, but you can see a transformation in my mom in particular
Yep.
before and after this dog. Before, I remember growing up in like, if a dog is on her, dogs always wanted to be on her, but they're climbing on her, they're getting closer, and she's making a disgusted face. She's not wanting anything to do with that. And now you can't pass a dog without her going, doggy, freaking out. Like, she's the dog
Was
lady
that the
now.
best
And so,
impression ever? That's spot on.
but yeah, it was so good for so many reasons. It worked
Yeah.
out for us, and he was a wonderful dog. But it also, I think anybody who's not a dog fan could just benefit from getting a little Shishan mix. That's what he was. And maybe they can change your
Mm.
heart. Maybe they can
I'm
soften your
still
heart.
chilling up when
That's
you
the
did your
story.
mom. You imitated your mom. I mean, it's spot on.
It
Uh,
helps that I look like her too.
yeah.
Yeah, you
So
do.
yeah, that was an amazing gift for
Yeah.
me. And just growing up with a dog, he was
I
a dear
I
little
remember
guy.
her. She was not pleased at all, but she fell in love with Rigsby, right?
Wrigley.
Wrigley, yeah.
Wrigley.
Yeah, Wrigley.
Fell and she would take him to school and blah blah blah. I mean,
It
it,
worked out. Yeah.
yes, it worked out
So
Yeah.
he
wonderfully.
wiggled his way into her heart.
Yeah. You said there were two.
Yeah. So the other one, shifting gears completely, when I was in my senior year of high school, I was sitting next to a guy in my calculus class in high school, and I thought he was super cute. And I would draw on his paper, all day. At the time, it sounds kind of silly now and a little bit cringy, but the two things that, you're saying the slang were yeet and swag. I don't know if you remember that time, but yeet,
Uh,
Yeet, is something that I really latched onto, and I would write all over his paper.
oh my gosh, that's so funny.
We ended up dating, and we started dating in November of 2016. And Christmas is a month later, and it rolls around, and the gift that he gets me is a handmade wooden, very ornate stamp. It's crazy. It's got a handle. It's on a pedestal,
Wow.
and when you open it up from the top, like you lift it out of this box, I
Yeah.
guess, that has
Like a
the ink at the
stand or
bottom of it,
something. Yeah.
and it says yeet, with the rubber, so that I could just start stamping it instead of writing it. But when
Oh, that's amazing.
yeah, it just was the level of thoughtfulness and
Yeah.
creativity. And spoiler, this is my husband now, but
Yay.
he
I was hoping that would
yes, it's Justin, yeah. But
Yay.
yeah, it was this crazy revelation to me, like, who is this guy who makes something like this? It's such a cool gift, and it was
Yeah.
such a foreshadowing into who he is as a person, so thoughtful and creative and clever and willing to put in time to
Mhm.
make things like that. So that was a super just cool thing to receive that I still have.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that is the best story. And you still use the stamp?
It's dried out now. It's
It's
dried out,
what?
but it's kind of dried out right now.
Oh, that makes sense.
We just moved into our house, and honestly, I don't think I know where it is right now. It's here, but
Yeah.
we have to find it and
Moving's hard.
Congratulations, by the way. Your mom mentioned
you.
it to me, no, a couple weeks ago or so that you guys did the big move.
It's pretty
That's
awesome.
awesome.
Yeah, I feel like a
Exciting.
kid playing dress up in this
Yeah.
house.
That makes
Sid,
so
you're
much
no
sense,
longer
yeah.
a kid.
Okay,
know.
being in the young adult years, you still feel like, am I really like old enough for this? This
Yeah,
is
is
crazy.
this allowed? Yeah.
Yeah. That's funny.
Well, let's go ahead and build on that magic piece of it. So, what was the most magical thing that you ever experienced?
There are quite a few things I could point to, but I think this kind of summarizes one of my favorite places in the world. I'm a huge national parks girly, and Gibby's experienced this. He did, as he kind of foreshadowed earlier. We went on a 10 park, I think like 10-day national park trip.
Wow.
It was really
A
ambitious,
whirlwind?
an ambitious
I,
trip. We got
I
it
only
done.
did I did a small part of it, but I loved every
Yes,
second of it because I got to experience it with you guys.
it was so fun. It was a
Hmm.
blast. I look on it so fondly. But one of the places that we stopped, and I've been there 3 times now, is Yellowstone Tetons, and I think that that place is just incredible.
Hmm.
But the first time that I went there, I think it was 2021 or 2022, and it was August. And this was when we were just kind of starting to get into national parks. Our friend organized this trip for us. It's kind of that might surprise you, Gibby, because you know that I like to.
I kind of
What?
said
Have
that
the
a little bit
control?
earlier. I did not say you
I've
were a
got
control freak. I said you were
I didn't
very
say that either.
organized.
I've got a Google
You
Doc
did.
for every vacation. We'll say that.
Every
And
So do I.
there's itineraries, there's a
I
packing
said,
list, there's it's all in one place. Anyways, this friend planned this trip for us, and I didn't really know much about the park at the
Hmm.
time. It was my birthday actually on this day, and I was like, "You better, do something amazing for my birthday today. This needs to be
there
top
you
notch."
go.
And so we go around to this part of the park, and it says Lower Falls. And you park in this parking lot. It's very busy. You're passing a bunch of crowds, and then you go down a set of switchbacks that are just on concrete for a while, and you don't really know what's coming. I had no idea what was coming, but then we come around the corner, and all of a sudden I'm standing on the like right next to, like just to your right is the waterfall descending into the Grand Canyon of Yellowstone. And the sound of the waterfall, it's so loud.
Hmm.
The colors, you're seeing yellows, reds, greens. The water is like a teal blue color, and just the proximity is so close to you. You're right on top of it, and all of that with having no idea that this was coming. It just brought tears to my eyes. It was so incredible. So I understand now why Congress elected to make it a national park after they saw a painting of the site, because it's just so incredible. And that's what I think of, anytime I'm, feeling stressed, or just trying to put myself into a different mindset,
Hmm.
that place in particular. But that's how I kind of feel in national parks in general. I kind of become rabid. Like I just said, I just want to experience it. I want to get in there. Everybody stay out of my way. We need to go experience as much of this as we can, because might never be here again. So
Oh,
yeah,
that's a
but that
great
place is
story.
probably my favorite place. Yeah.
That's amazing.
Lex, I got to go down south to the Arches with the guys, and they're like, "Hey, we're gonna hike up here. It's a couple miles," and they may have told me what the name of the arch was. I don't know, and I wouldn't have known anyhow. And so I'm marching along, and we get up there, and then you kind of take a right, and there's this monstrous arch. I'm like, wow, that's really cool. I've seen that somewhere. And they're like, it's on your license plate. It's Delicate Arch. I had no idea. I still haven't made it up to Glacier yet, and that's one of my buckets.
And is
I
that what
need
you did
to.
over the summer, Sid? You went to Glacier?
Yes. Yeah, I think did my mom tell the bear story?
Yeah,
Yeah.
She did, yeah.
Mhm.
yeah,
And she's a good storyteller, and so are you.
yeah.
She's very talented, and thank you. That's nice of you to say.
My father is also a good storyteller, but in the sense that you need to be wary about what is exaggerated or not.
They say that every good story needs to be embellished a little bit.
There's a little spice.
Yeah.
A little, a lot. It's all
Hmm.
relative to Gibby. Anyway, Sid, can you tell us about a life hack that you have that can improve anyone's life?
Yeah, I think that people might kind of roll their eyes at me saying that this is a life hack, but I feel like we should just highlight it. And
Okay.
it's that you can learn how to do anything on YouTube. Like
Mm.
a few years ago, when I was probably my second or third year of vet school, I've always wanted to learn how to knit. And I also felt that by learning to knit, I might enhance my surgical skills. And I don't know if
Totally.
that
Did it?
happened, but I
Oh.
don't know, because I've always had a hard time understanding like 3D following things
Yeah.
happening as they're going. So I thought that because we were starting knots and suturing at that time, I thought it might help me just to keep up with that and kind of flex those muscles in
Yeah.
my
It's
mind.
really
But
smart.
we and I just wanted to learn how to knit so I can make cool stuff. And just a month ago, I finished a super adorable little cardigan for a friend's baby shower. Like you can
Cute.
do anything. And
Yeah.
if there's a surgery that I haven't done in a while or I haven't seen done before, you can find it on YouTube.
Yeah.
It was a couple months ago. Um, our clinic cat had a non-healing wound on her leg that the team had been bandaging and replacing and culturing and doing antibiotics for a while. And eventually our medical director was like, I think that we should just amputate it. And I said, well, I have the afternoon free. I'm going to watch some YouTube videos. And I think that, we can do it after that. And literally, you look up feline hind limb amputation, it can be done. And so there's just so many things that you can find on YouTube that can give you the skills that you need to do something you haven't done before.
That is
I,
a great point.
I think if I were a cat, though, I would want you to do a little bit more than just YouTube.
Like what?
Sometimes that's all you have.
I'm just kidding.
Okay, so to go back, you said at the beginning, what did you say? People might think this is
Like obvious, like why are you calling this a life hack? But
yeah. So that makes sense. So I wouldn't necessarily say like this is an untapped resource. Like people obviously know about YouTube,
yeah,
but sometimes, yeah, I think it's a forgotten resource. It must take so much to have so much like wide variety of knowledge. I feel like doctors and vets and dentists must have to be able to do their jobs.
jack of all trades, master of none. That's what they say.
Master of YouTube.
Yeah.
Syd, I'm going to switch gears on you. Tell us about a time where you failed but gained more than you expected from it.
Yeah, so I had a client who I met for the first time with a dog, and this probably would have been last spring or so. She brought me a really spicy chihuahua with a lesion on the lip. Yeah, so
Oh my
the
goodness.
best place to go try to
Yeah.
investigate with a chihuahua who wants to bite you. But I grew really fond of this chihuahua. She always came in with a little skirt on, and you could just yeah, it was super cute, and you could tell that her owner really really loved her, and they had a special relationship. But interestingly, this lesion on the lip ended up swelling and spreading, and ultimately found out that it was cutaneous lymphoma. So we went through a lot to get this diagnosis. The dog had a couple of other issues, including pretty advanced heart murmur, and so we were and she was underweight. She was losing a lot of weight. Discuss the risks with the owner about sedating for a biopsy, to confirm this diagnosis. And ultimately we ended up doing that. I was a little bit scared with everything she had going on, but we did get the diagnosis. Yeah. And given all of her comorbidities, she elected not to move forward with chemotherapy or, other advanced treatments. And we just treated supportively to keep her as comfortable as we could until she ultimately was euthanized. But I'd say this happened over a period of a couple months. It got pretty tight with the owner, as you do with these pretty, these end stage conditions. And then a week later, like really a week later, I see this owner is on the schedule with a new pet, and it's a dog that she found on the street. He was emaciated. He was flea ridden. He had hair missing around his neck with chain indentations. So you could tell that
goodness.
he had been in a situation that probably both involved abuse and neglect. And she happened to come across him. And so we started with, standard let's vaccine, let's test for parasites, all that stuff, that we expect to see for a dog who's likely been kept outside for a long period of time. And ultimately came up with the diagnosis of heartworm disease. And I don't know if your guys' side of the country gets as much of that as we do, but heartworms are transmitted by mosquitoes, and they're super nasty, really easy to prevent with a monthly pill, but really hard to treat. It requires arsenic injections. I talked over the disease with his new owner, and we did an ultrasound, some staging just to see where he was. Most dogs, the first time that they test positive for heartworms, are not clinical for it. They're not showing any signs that they have it. But he was actually having a cough, and he had a couple of blood work changes that were consistent with it. So it was a little bit more advanced. And again, offered referral to a cardiologist where they're going to be capable of, you can actually do surgery to remove the worms, just so you know. But more advanced workup. And, and she elected just to do what we could at our clinic. When I ultrasounded him, I did see a worm, which is crazy.
Yeah, that is crazy.
How big does that get?
That's disgusting.
They're like this long, big? Nasty spaghetti worms.
No way.
You could find a video on YouTube.
I'm not going to do that. And they're literally in the dog's heart, or do they go other places?
So they start they actually go to the pulmonary vessels, and then in bad burdens, they'll back up into the heart. So he was again, very advanced, and we elected to move forward with treatment and gave him, so you have to start by medicating them with both a steroid and an antibiotic before you even start trying to address the worms, because a lot of these worms actually carry a bacteria called Wolbachia that when you start to kill the worms, the body will have an immune response to that. So you have to kill the bacteria first, and then you have to have a steroid on board to deal with the inflammation secondary to killing the worms. So you're getting all that started in advance. And then you also have them on a monthly preventative to kill any new microfilaria, the early larval stages, before they have the ability to develop. So we're going through all this. Then we give him his first injection into the muscle. Like I said, it's heavy stuff. It's arsenic. It's really uncomfortable. And then you wait a month, and then you do 2 more injections 24 hours apart. So his first injection goes off beautifully. And then he comes back for his second and third and did well while he was in the clinic. And then that Saturday, I received a text from the doctor who was working that he came in congestive heart failure and had to be euthanized. Oh. So that was a huge punch in the gut. I was just I felt like a loser because I felt like we'd had the opportunity to, save this dog. And I had developed a really good relationship with this owner. And I felt like I'd now failed her, twice in the last year. We've ended up euthanizing her pets. And I was just dreading. On Monday, I knew that I would give her a call, just to express my condolences and talk it over with her. And I did, and it went fine. And I thought that was it. But actually, I guess, Christmas time, I come in and she has made me a handmade wreath and a bunch of, cookies and treats and things. And the lesson for me was, sometimes we don't get good outcomes despite, what we try to do. But what people will remember is that you gave it a shot with them, and that you cared, and that you wanted to do what you could for the animal. For somebody who, she's walking away with 2 deceased pets, it was a really surprising and kind thing for her to do, that not forget.
That's a beautiful thing. She's very graceful.
Yeah.
I also think it's a reminder for those of us out there who are owners that, gosh, the toll that experiences like that take on the professionals too, and that it's hard for everybody to see these poor outcomes. From the owner's side, we feel so much immense appreciation and gratefulness for the things that veterinarians do. I think that's a great takeaway. I wouldn't say that that was a time that you failed, even though maybe
No.
you felt like that, but more that learning hard lessons like that in times that are really hard. That's something that I think everyone could lean into a little bit more, because that is when we have some of our greatest learning experiences. Let's switch gears to your last question. Syd, what are you grateful for these days?
As you guys know, we moved into our house earlier this week on
This
Tuesday.
week? I did not
This
know
week.
it was that recent. Oh
It
my goodness.
was we literally we closed on Tuesday and
What?
we moved in on Tuesday. It was incredibly ambitious, but here we are.
Wow.
And this is a side note, but when I went, so I love estate sales. I found at an estate sale a few months ago a hand knit sweater from 1994 that says we're moving, and it has moving trucks on it and cows saying move, and it's so ornate and decorative. Anyways, I wore that to the closing. They said nobody had ever seen it. It was they're like, nobody's ever worn a "we're moving" sweater to closing, so it's pretty awesome.
That's,
But
first
anyways,
of all, genius. And second of all, we have to see what that sweater looks like. That
I
sounds
will
amazing.
I'll send you a picture after
Please.
we get off this. I'll drop it in the GC. But anyways, so we moved in on Tuesday, and it's a huge step in life. We've got a house now, but when I was reflecting on the day, just kind of at the end of the week, my parents took the day off to help us move. Our friends lent us a ton of boxes. Other friends came and helped us move. Our realtor was my middle school science teacher. Our loan officer was a man that I worked for when I was in high school as an assistant to a loan officer.
Wow.
So it was, looking at all of that and just the community that surrounds us, and just decades of living in this town, and building relationships with people that have come back to benefit us later. There's so much that we have that we've been given that I don't think that we've necessarily earned or deserved, and we're just really no, I mean,
of course
really,
it's earned and deserved. What are you talking about?
We haven't really done anything to there's a community that surrounds us and supports us. Everywhere we go, we're just so supported by so many family friends and family members, and I'm just really thankful now that I'm here. I'm in my house, and a lot of people helped me get here, so I'm feeling very thankful.
That's an amazing answer.
Yay. That is totally cool. It was a little village moving you in.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. You know what's really interesting is our previous guest, just before you, she ended her podcast episode with also talking about how grateful she is for her community too, and kind of named all of these different pockets of people just like you did. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to say the same thing to you that I said to her, which was, that's the whole point of our podcast, is community and connection with other people and appreciation for the people that you have in your life who are just there and who are there to help you when you need them, and you're there to help when they need you, obviously, in multiple ways. In your way, maybe as a vet, but also to help other people move when they need help. And back in the day when you were an assistant to a loan officer, helping other families start their move-in process. What an incredible full circle moment. And we're so happy for you. That's amazing.
So Syd, can I ask a question?
Mm-hmm.
Completely still boxed up, or is the house kind of set up already?
We have come from a 2-bedroom, 1-bathroom apartment, and we are now in a 4-bedroom, 3-bathroom house.
Wow.
And so all the things from that apartment are here, but the house is still very much needing filled out. So we have furniture that's being mailed in that should come, and Right. So right now it feels kind of awkward. Like we do have stuff in boxes, but I need the furniture to put stuff into
In.
before we can fully unbox. So we're it's functional, but it's not cosmetic, I would say at this time.
Yeah, that makes so much sense. And that's even better because it's like when you get like birthday presents after your birthday. It's just like the gift that keeps on going.
Yes. Yeah. You kind of forgot like by the time it gets mailed to you what it looks like. You're like,
Oh my
yeah, I
gosh.
love
Yeah.
this.
That's
Yeah.
exciting. How cool. And are you doing any painting or any changes? Do you have any renovations that you want to do?
Not really. It was pretty move in ready for
Wow.
us.
That's
That's
There
awesome.
amazing.
are a couple of things that need to be like corrected, but mostly on the outside of the house. And the sellers provided us a check to get it done. So I
Wow.
know, isn't it amazing?
Crazy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I know. So we're having to cover a little bit, but really like Justin and I both raised our eyebrows. We're like, okay, we'll take it.
All right.
I'm not going to say
Yeah,
no.
yeah.
Congratulations to you and Justin and your pup. That is amazing. To go back, obviously the house is super exciting, but the community that helped you moved into the house, that is certainly something to celebrate as well and to feel grateful for. So I think that's an amazing answer.
Thank you.
Well, Syd, thank you for joining us on the porch today. It was a lot of fun. I already knew it was going to be fun and very informative. Thank you very much.
Thanks so much for having me. I had so much fun.
Yeah. You know what? I did want to say one more thing. Speaking of informative, if you could have one, and it doesn't have to be like the ultimate one, but one piece of advice to animal owners, what would it be? It could be small,
It could be controversial. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to think of something that
something
isn't going to
general,
irritate people.
well
Let
accepted.
me let me say this, and this isn't to scare anybody. I think it's just to give insight into what your veterinarian is actually doing. But we use a lot of terms like spay or neuter, and we're just like, yeah, my vet's spaying my dog today. Your vet is doing an ovariohysterectomy. And I just want you to think about what that looks like for a person. You know, that's a major abdominal surgery.
Yeah,
So it's a big deal and it's not something to be taken lightly. And keep your dog rested for 2 weeks after the procedure and keep the cone on. That would be my advice if you
that's great advice.
if
And when you
that's
put it
paid.
into
Yeah.
terms like that makes so much sense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's a good one. Thanks, Syd, for being on the podcast this morning
Thanks, Syd.
or this afternoon. This has
Yeah.
been so fun. We love the stuff that you brought on. We appreciate you sharing your expertise with us in the veterinary field, but also chatting with us about your new home and your community and your magical experiences and your Yeet gift from high school. That's a good one. Thanks so much. We appreciate you, and we will talk to you soon.
Thank you.
Love
See
you,
ya.
Syd.
Bye.
Love you.
Well, I was excited to have Syd on. I knew it would be fun and learned a lot.
What did you learn?
Well, the couple things that I did appreciate, and I'm probably going to have to call her up and ask her more often on little tidbits of canine dog health and how I should feed her and the inoculations and everything else. I just kind of, she's just been healthy, so I've not really been concerned. But, now I think she's 6 and still young, but I want to make sure I set her up for success for the next 6, 12
She
years.
meaning for the
Poppy.
listeners, his dog. Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to hear one of the questions that you were surprised about her answer that you thought was particularly deep or funny.
Well, first of all, we have the word "fell" in some of the questions, and that's a rough one.
It's just this question.
Sure, and but obviously it wasn't a fell. She's human. Veterinarians, doctors are only human. They're doing the best they can. Unfortunate outcome for the 2 pets, but
Can I back up? We have
Sure.
had a few people choose this question. We had, was it Rick when he, quote, failed the naval nuclear program? And Beth when she, quote, failed at becoming a flight attendant and she wasn't
Mhm.
offered the job. And then Syd, when she, quote, failed this owner or failed these dogs when she tried her hardest to save them. In all of those situations, it was an interesting reflection of what is failure? What does that mean to us individually and personally? How do we look at our experiences from different perspectives? Should we call it a failure? Or is it okay if it is, in fact, a failure? Does that mean it's bad? I think it's been a very self-reflective exercise, and one that doesn't mean necessarily just bad things. Do you know what I'm saying?
You're saying that what you perceive as a fail, a lot of pressure on you for an outcome that you wanted or you're hoping for, at the end of it, it's okay. That was a way that it wasn't going to work, or some circumstances that was out of your control, or that you didn't have a final say for it. You gave your best. And once you got through it, you persevered, you kept moving, and the other outcome was better. In Beth's instance, she was pregnant. And Rick, had he made it through the nuke program, he would never have gotten to go to the SEAL program. A little bit different. Syd not being able to move the animals' lives further, but receive the grace from somebody, from the pet owner. She obviously knew that it bothered Syd probably extensively that she was able to save the animals at the end. But Syd, like she said, she got so much more out of it, a friendship and a keepsake.
So maybe this question isn't a bad question. And the people who choose it for themselves, they find a lot of value in that type of reflection. Syd said in her question about the gifts that she received that meant a lot to her, with the yeet stamp. And for the listeners could not see Gibby, but Gibby's face looked immensely confused. Like, I've never heard of that in my life. So let's talk about these slang words that Syd brought up. She said swag and yeet. You know what swag is?
I thought swag was like, in my world, swag is like bling or, coins or
coins.
They give coins, maybe beer mugs, beer steins, just stuff like that.
Okay, so look, to be completely accurate, let's do swag Urban Dictionary, where we get all of our best information. Okay, so yes, it does mean like the free promotional merchandise that you would get in like a giveaway or something, or like a business would have like, this is our swag that you get for coming to our table at this expo or whatever. But it also means confidence, a cool demeanor, like you walk with swag, right?
Swagger, yeah.
Sure, yeah. So then yeet.
Did you know what yeet was?
I do, yeah. It's definitely after my time. It says, when I Google it, two things. Yeet is like a term defined as an exclamation of excitement, surprise, or approval. Like people just yell yeet. But also it means that you like throw something really hard, really fast, and often just out of existence, if that makes any sense. Like you just yeet it out of here kind of thing. Well, I think that concludes another episode of Porch Swing People.
I think you're right. Porch Swing People, out. Porch Swing People is recorded and produced by Lex and Gibby. Opening music was written and produced by Michael Gibson. Porch Swing People is a podcast featuring everyday people. If interested in being a guest, email us at porchswingpeeps@gmail.com.